Welcome to the Visionary CIOs. Today, we are joined by a dynamic entrepreneur and a thought leader in the real estate industry, Matthew Leschberg. He's the founder and broker of 1836 Property Management, a company based in Austin, Texas, that's making waves with its forward thinking approach to property management. With a background in real estate and a passion for systems and strategy, Matthew has built a reputation for delivering exceptional values to both investors and tenants. He brings a unique blend of operational insight, leadership, and technological innovation to the industry. We are excited to learn more about his journey, his vision for the future, and how he's reshaping what property management can look like in the modern era. Welcome, Matthew.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute honor. So we'll get started talking about a little bit about yourself. So if you can just introduce yourself and give us a brief overview of your professional experience and background, and what inspired you to start 1836 Realty.
Certainly. I actually grew up on the north side of Austin, Texas, and then went to college on the south side at Texas State. After leaving town and traveling as far as New York, Cleveland, and Houston for years, I ended up settling back in the Austin area. And as such, I was doing real estate sales when I first got into the industry. Sales is just not necessarily something that is a great fit with my personality profile. I like systems better, and I like being able to monitor and follow things over time. And so I found that when I sold a property, I also lost that client, and that just didn't sit real well with me. And so property management, as I was out and about in the field, looked like a opportunity where there was some room for growth. The property managers I was working with were not real responsive. The properties were not always well maintained. And it seemed like there was a lot of opportunity there for someone to deliver a better product, if you will. And so I started with one property, two properties, and have added for about 18 years now, where we're managing just under 900 properties today at the start of 2025. We've had no significant acquisitions, and every one of those is your traditional real estate investor, which 60% or so of those in the United States own 1 to 2 units. We have no one with significant holdings that is a corporation or anything of that. It's really the mom and pops that have something invested for the long term that we serve.
That's excellent, and you've definitely come a long way and miles to go. So congratulations on that as well. So as the founder, what are some of your leadership approach or core values that you sort of enable in the organization or firm?
Certainly. You're going to put me on the spot a little bit here now, because we do actually use EOS, or Entrepreneurial Operating System, and we collaborate quarterly as well as annually with our entire team to make sure all of our values are aligned. But I think the big thing is really do the right thing and then collaborate with people for the best outcomes, no matter how you describe that. The key words may go one way or another based on how people are feeling each year, but we need to all work together, and we need to ensure we're doing the right thing for the best outcome for our clients. Everything else will fall in line if we just stick to that motto.
That's great. So, real estate is a very volatile industry. So, what are the sort of industry trends you look after in terms of ensuring that you stay ahead of the industry trends? And also, how do you make sure that the firm remains innovative and competitive in the long run?
Certainly. I think when it comes to trends, the sales side of the business certainly sees a lot higher highs and lower lows than we do, because our contracts are for a year or greater. And so typically when we're managing those properties, even if the cycle changes up or down, those tenants are still in place and we're still in place. And so we can weather those storms a little bit better. It's a little bit less volatile, although rents do go up and rents can go down as well. And so we need to adjust to those. And to do so, we watch the market daily and monthly just to make sure that we're comparing ourselves to everything that's out there. When there's excess demand and not enough supply, then prices go up. And it's been the opposite for about the last 14 months in Austin. After we saw this large peak, now there's been a little bit less demand and a lot of supply, and so we've had to adjust to that. When it comes to software, one of the biggest things that we've done is we realized 6-7 years ago that mom and pops were out there managing properties with sticky notes and dry erase boards and checklists. And if they were really good, maybe they had something that lived in Google Sheets. And it was functional, but it wasn't interactive. It wasn't collaborative. And more than anything else, companies were unable to get metrics out of that to evaluate their own performance. And so we spent approximately a year or two out researching what was available. I ended up having a really good friend in Florida who is an engineer by trade, and he worked in property management though. And he had been the only one in the nation at that time that had developed his own systems. So we met with him, we looked at those, and about a year later we implemented. About a year after that, we decided that technology changed. And so while we implemented what was the best at a time, we still needed to change gears because we needed something that was more adaptive than that was going to deliver to us over time. And so we've created our own internal systems connected by open API to the property management software that services tens of thousands of clients around the nation, and it holds all the financial aspects that we all need. But we still need to run a business. And so with the use of Make and Monday and several other software, we're able to actually operate fully in those software so that we can produce metrics and monitor and evaluate our own performance, the performance of each staff member, and how well we're managing each property over the course of months, weeks, years. And that allows us to outperform the competition. When they're hoping something doesn't go wrong, we can identify it as soon as it does, and then meet with that professional, coach them, or find out if something fell through the cracks and correct the system. Once the system has gone through enough of those errors, we simply have a better oiled machine than anyone else, and we can deliver more consistent, higher, superior results.
That's well said right there. So, Matthew, you've had a very established career with years and years of experience. So in this whole career, if you could just highlight some of the most significant milestones and achievements that you've had in your career, what would they be?
I think the first milestone that I would say would be hiring the top 3 people that we have in leadership. Those people, we would not be where we are without them. Any single person that's an entrepreneur cannot do it alone. And having someone that fills a role versus someone who does whatever needs to be done is completely different. And so our leadership team, which was hired, I think 15 years ago, give or take, for each person, has really made all the difference, because another company will have one person and maybe their kid, or another person and maybe their spouse, or maybe they have one other good. We have several layers of people that support us in leadership, and then we have several more on the bench. And I would put us up against anyone else in the nation because of the strength of our team, how engaged everyone is, and how savvy they are at the business. They're just really, they're beyond anyone else that I've seen. Another one of the milestones I would say is really the commitment to and the development of our systems. National companies started coming around about 5 to 8 years ago, and they had a lot of money because they had a lot of investors, and they were buying up other companies, and they were promising them that they were going to deliver systems. Well, it's been at least 5 years, and most of those companies are still struggling, even with that money, to develop systems, because what we do is very complex. It seems very simple until you engage with other humans, and then it gets very messy because everyone wants something and things don't happen on time, and you have to adjust everyone all the time. It's very dynamic. And so when they run those businesses across multiple states with different rules, it's been really difficult, and they've so far not been really successful at implementing them. Since we're in Austin, we plan to stay in Austin, and we've been able to focus on our environment and our systems and our needs and our clients. And we've been working on those systems longer than they have. We may not have the deep pockets, but we've got a better team, and we think we're way ahead of where those national companies are when it comes to systems. We get a lot of clients from some of those national companies that make promises, and then 2 months later, the client's not even gotten started yet. And so we're able to execute things, implement them, and monitor their progress much more effectively and efficiently. And so I think the systems was a massive influence on us. If I was to go back between those two, between the hiring the employees, the implementation of the systems, because it was multi-years and we've spent probably $1 million on at this point, I would say that the implementation of EOS, which is something I mentioned earlier, it's just a manner in which we operate, share, and disseminate information within the company. It's not a software, it's not a person, but it has allowed us to keep the entire company and every person in it always on the same page, rowing the boat in the same direction in unison, and that's a significant difference.
That's outstanding. So you've had a successful career. So what are some of the personal qualities or habits you believe have contributed most to your success?
I would think, I don't want to say diligence, but I got a compliment this morning, discipline. I think it's the discipline. It's not just me, though. It's the entire team. They show up to work. They're here to put in the work, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. And the discipline to execute that, even on hard days, is what makes the difference. I think a lot of people quit when times get difficult. And I'm telling you, if you're deciding to build a business, it's going to get way more difficult than you've ever imagined. And so you have to be disciplined enough to see it through, let it run its course, go through the journey, and stay on it until you reach whatever that goal is, or until you at least reach safety and can take care of your people and have an ongoing concern.
That's superb, and definitely discipline is key. So, we'll touch a little bit upon the future now, Matthew. What is your vision for the company in the next 5 to 10 years?
One of the most enjoyable things that I'm going to get to share with you is that we will still be independently owned and operated. We are privately held. We have no debt. And I think we may be one of the largest privately held property management firms in Austin remaining, because private equity has bought out all the other ones, and we will not be selling. We will be here for the next 5, 10, hopefully 20 years. And we really take a lot of pride in that, because when something's wrong, we don't have to call management or leadership to ask what we should do. We get together and we make decisions, and we can stand behind our work and have integrity. And that means something to all of us here at 1836. So where do I see the future going? I see us continuing to gain market share. And I see us continuing to succeed against people who are operating companies in Austin, but are not privately held, and they're managed by some group of people outside the state, and the call centers are outside the state, and they really have no relationship with Austin. We're going to be here on the ground while they're not.
That sounds promising. So this brings me to the last question. What is that one piece of advice that you'd like to share to aspiring business leaders and entrepreneurs in real estate, or just in general, from your experience?
One piece of advice. You cannot do this alone. You need people to guide you. You need people to show you the way. People are willing to guide you and show you the way. You need a team behind you who is willing to help row the boat on days when you can't. There are people willing to do that. You're going to need relationships in the community, people who trust you enough to share your information with their network and their groups. And there are people who are open to relationships, but you're going to need people, and it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to trust them and build those relationships. And that does not happen with a click on the internet, and it does not happen in a short period of time. So be ready to invest the time and give, and you will get it back.
Those are really wise words right there. So Matthew, this does bring us to the end of the interview, but is there anything that you'd like to add if I've missed through the questionnaire?
No, I think we're good for today.
Oh, that sounds great. So I just want to thank you for the time and effort for this interview. It was an honor talking to you. I think you are a true legend in terms of when it comes to your industry, and you are a pioneer in it. And I really loved the way you mentioned about the team. I think recognizing talent is key for the growth of the organization. And it's just kudos to you for hiring such good talent, and also being a team player for them, guiding and inspiring all of the employees in your team. So yeah, I want to say thank you for this conversation that we've had today. And I wish you all the best with your company ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time today. It was a pleasure.
Yes, likewise. Take care. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yes.